On the evening of April 14, 2009, in Pinellas Park, Florida, Rachel Wade was anxiously awaiting the arrival of her ex-boyfriend and occasional lover, Joshua Camacho. When Joshua failed to show up, Rachel decided to take her dog for a walk. She claimed that during the walk, a vehicle approached her, and the driver honked and yelled for her to stay away from Joshua. Feeling threatened, Rachel called another ex-boyfriend, Javier, who lived nearby. Before leaving her house to head to Javier's, Rachel reportedly grabbed a steak knife, claiming it was for self-defense. Around 11 p.m., Rachel noticed a car belonging to Joshua's new girlfriend, Sarah Ludemann, parked outside Joshua's house. This discovery triggered an exchange of heated messages between Rachel, Joshua, and Sarah. Later that night, around midnight, Sarah agreed to give Joshua's sister a ride to McDonald's. On the way, Sarah encountered a friend, Ashley, stopped at a stop sign. Sarah rolled down her window to say hello, but Ashley quickly noticed that Sarah appeared upset and angry. During their brief exchange, Ashley mentioned she had seen Rachel at Javier's house. This prompted Sarah to decide to confront Rachel, and she began driving toward Javier's residence. While Sarah was en route, Rachel called her, screaming threats including, "I'm going to kill you. You and your Mexican boyfriend." Despite the severity of the threats, Sarah appeared unfazed, likely due to the tumultuous history of their love triangle. 8 months earlier, on August 29, 2008, Sarah had received similar threats from Rachel, left as voicemails.
Next message.
Please tell me, Sarah, why you would be a dumb enough to put a brand new picture of you and Josh at the beach. Seriously, I told you to watch your back and not to chill with him. Now your ass is mine, and I'm guaranteeing you I'm gonna murder you. I'm letting you know that now, because you know what? Josh might have played me, but bitch, I'm gonna play your ass out too. Watch. You're a fat bitch, and I'm gonna kill you. I swear on my life. Watch out your window when I get off work tonight, you dumb bitch.
End of message. Next message.
It's so funny how you talk and you want to sit there and say that my man was at your house. Then tell me what he was wearing tonight, Sarah. You're a dumb bitch for real. If you're lying, I'm going to find you and I'm going to beat your ass. If you're not lying, I'm going to find you and beat your ass, okay? You keep playing games. You're a pathetic little bitch and you're a little girl. Honestly, what do you have that's going for you that Josh wants you over me for? I got a job, have my own place. What? Seriously? He could get anything he wants from me. Any thing, not to mention that I look probably 10 times better than you. And you run your mouth. You still got your mommy and daddy's curfew, bitch, for God's sake. What why do you run your mouth and why are you that pathetic? Please do leave shit on your MySpace because that's old news just like you and him are. So keep talking, Sarah. You don't know when to stop. You haven't learned your lesson yet, but I'm going to teach you it. I'm telling you now. Keep with me, Sarah. Dumb, psychotic little bitches, and I'm telling you now, I'm going to show you psycho. Keep with me. You're with the wrong person and with the one thing that I care about. So keep going, Sarah. Play your game, because I'm going to teach you how to grow up real quick.
Unfazed by Rachel's death threats, Sarah continued driving toward Javier's house, determined to confront her. Upon arrival, Sarah saw Rachel engaged in a conversation with Javier and a mutual friend, Dustin Grimes. Witnesses later claimed that Sarah remained in her vehicle and was attacked by Rachel before stepping out. However, Rachel testified to a different version of events. According to Rachel, Sarah drove directly toward her instead of parking, coming to a sudden stop just a few feet away. Sarah then exited her minivan in a fit of rage, charging at Rachel with fists raised. Fearing for her safety, Rachel claimed she initially brandished the steak knife she had brought, hoping to scare Sarah into backing off. However, Sarah was undeterred and continued her attack. In the ensuing struggle, Rachel fought to defend herself. As the altercation escalated, Rachel swung the knife in what she described as self-defense, unintentionally stabbing Sarah multiple times. The wounds proved devastating. Sarah's friend Janet intervened, pulling Rachel away after realizing Sarah had been seriously injured. Janet quickly called Joshua Camacho, Sarah's boyfriend, to inform him of what had happened. Joshua then contacted Sarah's father, and both men rushed to her side. Sarah was transported to the hospital, but the injuries were fatal. A stab wound to her chest had pierced her heart, and doctors were unable to save her. Sarah succumbed to her injuries later that night. Hours after the incident, Rachel was arrested and interrogated by law enforcement. Her version of the events, however, conflicted with the accounts provided by multiple witnesses, casting doubt on her claim of self-defense.
When you had it with you, you had it in the car with you, right? And you drove over to Javier's house. Why did you have it with you?
Because they said that they were going to find my car and follow me, and she threatened to kill me.
So are you telling me that you had it for some form of protection?
Yeah, because I know they're going to jump me. I know Josh's family. Josh has hit me before. Josh's brother threatened it.
At this point, Rachel remains unaware of the severity of Sarah's injuries and likely assumes that Sarah is still alive. This belief may significantly influence her perception of the potential consequences, prompting her to speak openly about the confrontation without seeking legal counsel. Despite her intense feelings for Joshua, Rachel quickly shifts the narrative, portraying herself as a battered and trapped victim. In doing so, she not only implicates Joshua, the man at the center of the conflict, but also casts blame on his entire family in an apparent attempt to shield herself from accountability. Remarkably, this defensive posture emerges within the first 21 seconds of the interrogation video.
Have a gun or anything else? Okay, so that was your form of protection. Okay, so when you got in the car tonight to go over to their house, you had it in your hand, or you brought it with you. When you were arguing with Josh, you had it, is that right?
That was in my seat.
Okay, and did they tell you to put it away?
No, I didn't say anything.
Javier and Dustin didn't?
No, Javier asked me why I had it, and he said, do you really think? I told him it's so, if they see it, they'll leave me alone. Hopefully they'd just go away.
Right.
And he was like, because I guess Josh has come to his house with a gun before. He said that weapons don't scare them, and it wasn't going to do anything to them. And that was kind of the end of the conversation. He said, they're not going to stop at anything.
Okay.
And I had it out when Sarah got there, hoping that she would just walk away from me or see it and think that I was actually going to do something, and they both came after me.
All right, Rachel, walk me through it. You're sitting there, they pull up, Sarah gets out, you go out to the street where she's at, okay, because she's right in front of the car, okay, to the front of her car. What happened when you encountered her?
She just started screaming at me, and she laughed at me and said I wasn't going to do anything, and then she realized that I had a knife, and she kind of backed up, and then she started swinging on me anyways, and I just...
When you say she started swinging on you, what was she doing?
She just started punching me in my face.
Flailing at you?
Yeah.
Punching?
And then I saw Janet coming around.
And where were you holding the knife at the time?
I just had it out to the side, and then I saw Janet coming at me, and I saw the other girl come around the back end of the car, and they were all screaming at me, and Janet was telling me that I was crazy and I wasn't going to do anything, and then, she said that she wished I would stab her.
Who said that?
Janet.
Said, I wish you'd stab me?
Yeah, she said, I bet you won't stab me, I wish you would. And when Sarah was hitting me, I went to hit her, and I really did not mean stab her. Okay. I'm not going to kill somebody.
Fat bitch, and I'm going to kill you. I swear on my life. Watch out your window when I get off work tonight, you dumb bitch.
Tell me how it happened.
She was hitting me, and when I went to hit her back, I had put one of my hands up, and I tried to hit her back and keep my hands in front of me.
This is the knife. Show me how you were holding it. Okay. But now, if I'm Sarah and I'm in front of you, what were you doing with the knife? How did you have it?
I had it out to the side, and she started swinging on me, and then when I went to put my hands out, she was swinging on me, and I tried to defend myself from her, and then Janet came at me from the side. And I guess I did not mean to stab her at all.
How many times did you stab her?
I guess once.
Okay, do you know where it hit her at?
No, I don't. I didn't see anything. I had both of them coming at me and Sarah hitting me to begin with.
Okay. After you stabbed her, did she go to the ground, fall to the ground?
I didn't see that. No, she was screaming at Janet after that. She was screaming, Janet, get in the car, your kids. That's all she would say. And then I didn't see her. And I still heard her yelling her name. That's all I heard was Janet, Janet, get in the car.
Okay. So Sarah didn't have any weapon with her at all, right? She wasn't carrying a bat or a gun or a knife that you saw, right? Okay. And you went out and you met her in the street, came up to her side of the car where she was getting out of. Is that right?
stepped in, like, in the front of my car, yeah. And then when she started screaming at me, and then Janet started coming around the side, so I walked over a little bit further.
But initially it was just you and Sarah, because you said Sarah was, and is that how your lip got hit?
I think Janet did that. I don't know. Sarah kind of hit me in, like, the side of my head more than anything, and in my stomach once. But when Sarah was hitting me, I saw Janet come this way, and the other girl got out of the other side of the car and walked around from the back towards me.
Okay. So after that was done, and I know you said you were being dragged around by Janet and whatnot, when you went back up to the house, what did you do with the knife once you had it?
I threw it.
Where?
Towards the neighbor's house.
If you're facing Javier's house to the left side, just in the grass, over the fence, what?
Threw it up. I don't know where it did.
Up on the roof?
I don't know if it was on the roof or in their backyard or I just threw it.
And how long would you say the knife is?
Something like that.
Then you went up and sat on the porch. And then took off.
No, Janet kept coming after me. Janet, like, followed me and kept coming after me.
And they stayed there then? Do you know what my job is? What?
To take care of things like this, to make sure things like this don't happen.
Well, I understand that. That's overall the police's job. But my specific job, do you know what it is?
To figure out the details of everything.
Well, that's part of it. You're correct. My real title is I'm a homicide detective.
Homicide is defined as the deliberate and unlawful killing of one person by another. At this moment, it seems fair to assume that Rachel is not aware of this.
Okay, they called me because of the serious nature of her injuries. Okay, she was stabbed. All right, she was stabbed twice. Because before I came here to talk to you, I went down and saw her at the hospital. Okay, she's stabbed twice in the chest. And she has no other injuries on her whatsoever. Okay? What I need to know from you is why. I understand that you had a knife because you thought you'd scare them, okay? But that isn't working. So why does somebody like you go 1 versus 3? You go out into the street and meet them. Why didn't you just run in the house and call the police?
Tired of it. They come after me all the time.
Okay.
I don't want it. I did not.
So you wanted it to end and be over with.
Yeah, but I have no intentions whatsoever on stabbing her. I have a great life. I mean, I have a job. I have my own house. I have my own car. I have everything, and I just wanted it to end. That's why I told Josh I was done. And I didn't want them to come. I really didn't. I was waiting. I called my friend Agla that I was with earlier, and I told her to come pick me up. And she's like, well, you should really take your car because if you don't take your car, they're going to do something to it. And at that point, I don't care. That's just my car.
Why did you change shirts?
I didn't change shirts.
What did you had on?
My other shirt. Janet ripped off my shirt.
Okay. So that got ripped off?
Right. Yeah, but I did not want to have
the necklace you have, is that yours?
Yeah.
Does that belong to you?
Yeah.
Did you see if Sarah was wearing a necklace at the time?
No, I didn't.
Did you take anything from her?
No, I did not. There were rings in my front seat, but I don't think they were mine. And somebody mentioned that there were rings in my front seat. I do have rings in my car, but I don't remember being in my seat.
Okay.
Janet got in my car, but I don't know what she did.
And so I'm clear. I understand that Janet was, beating on you as well, but initially it's you and Sarah. Javier, Dustin were out in the street fighting with you guys at all. Josh wasn't there.
No, Josh was, well, I heard Josh screaming, like, as the cops were pulling up. I heard Josh was brother. And me and Sarah were done fighting. Josh called me and threatened me and said he was going to come shoot me with his gun.
Why?
Because of the fact that his sister called and said that we were fighting and that I hit her.
Was it the fact that his sister called and said that you stabbed her?
I don't know what she said to him. I guess because she said that I hit her and that I stabbed Sarah. I don't know what she said.
When this is what I'm having a problem with. You're going to have to help me out with this because when everybody got there, Sarah is laying in the middle of the street with a stab wound. How do you not see that?
I didn't get it. Janet came after me. Like, she physically came after me and dragged me around his front yard. I couldn't see anything.
Okay.
I just didn't see, like, I saw Sarah sitting, like, on the edge of the seat of the front of the van, and she was screaming at Janet to get in the car, and then after that, Janet just came after me. She would not stop. And Javier and Dustin kind of, like, followed us, trying to, like, I don't know, intimidate her maybe to leave me alone. And she, like, I went to dial 911, she knocked my phone out of my hands, and she just kept dragging me around the front yard. I couldn't see anything.
Well, I know you told me that you were upset and you just wanted this to be over because they have been harassing you, obviously. Was tonight kind of just the final straw? Is that what the deal was?
I didn't want anything to do with any of them.
Right.
I didn't want them to call me
But
anymore.
you brought a knife with you for a reason.
Because they said they were going to follow me to my apartment.
But you also said that you had enough of it, and when I asked you why you just didn't run into the house when they come pulling up in a van, your response to me was, what?
I don't know. I'm tired of running and being scared. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't. My parents did not raise me that way.
Okay, I know that, but you did
They did
tonight.
not have any intention on stabbing her.
You had the knife in your hand. How do you think that blade came in contact with her? You said she was, like, trying to hit you.
Hit her back.
Okay, well, how do you hit somebody with a knife in your hand? You're going to have to show me. So
I was just swinging at her. I just had it, and I was swinging at her. She kept hitting me, and I just started swinging back.
With the knife?
With both hands.
Okay.
Yes.
Show me how were you overhand, or was it like
both,
this, or what?
Everywhere.
All over.
Because that's all she was doing to me, and I saw both of the other girls coming after me.
Okay. Did you get a chance to call him? Okay. Here's the next thing that you need to understand, Rachel. Okay. When I was down at the hospital, okay, I saw where she was stabbed at. Okay, it looks like she has 2 stab wounds. All right. The next piece of information that you need to know is that she is dead.
Oh my God.
Okay. She died as a result of these stab wounds that she had at Northside Hospital.
I didn't know what any of this happened. I just wanted them to finally leave me alone.
All this over Josh?
I just didn't want them to terrorize me anymore. They follow me everywhere. They come to my job. They come to my house.
Well, she's not going to follow you anymore because she's dead now.
Oh my God. I should've just stayed home, but every time I call the cops, they don't do anything. They don't. They tell me that they have to have physical proof of them injuring me or something.
Well, here's the deal. We have to work with what the law says.
Following her interrogation, Rachel Wade was formally charged with second-degree murder and booked into the Pinellas County Jail with a bond set at $500,000. Her trial commenced on July 20, 2010. The prosecution attributed Sarah Ludemann's death to the volatile escalation of a toxic love triangle, presenting it as the driving motive behind the fatal confrontation. To strengthen their case, they introduced evidence of Rachel's repeated threats against Sarah via social media, text messages, and voicemails. Several witnesses also testified, offering accounts that contradicted Rachel's self-defense claims. Among those who testified for the prosecution were Joshua Camacho, Janet Camacho, an unnamed friend, and Dustin Grimes. According to their testimony, after stopping at the stop sign where Sarah spoke with her friend Ashley, Sarah continued toward Javier's house. Upon arriving, all 3 passengers in Sarah's van observed Rachel, Javier, and Dustin standing on the front lawn near Rachel's car. Sarah stopped her van about 10 feet from Rachel's vehicle and began to exit, removing her keys from the ignition. Before she could fully step out, Rachel had already crossed in front of the van, walking around to Sarah's side. As Sarah was sliding out of her seat, Rachel began swinging at her. Janet testified that when she noticed the fight breaking out, she quickly exited her side of the van and attempted to intervene. She removed her sandal and tried to knock the knife from Rachel's hand. However, before she could confront Rachel directly, Janet heard Rachel laughing and shouting profanities at Sarah and Joshua. Janet then began swatting at Rachel and pulling her hair in an effort to stop the attack. At one point, Rachel reportedly yelled, "I'm done," prompting Janet to retreat toward the van. It was then that Janet noticed her unnamed friend kneeling by Sarah, who was lying on the ground. Realizing Sarah had been stabbed, Janet panicked and launched another attack on Rachel. Rachel, still holding the knife, did not retaliate, and Janet eventually retreated once more. During her testimony, Janet stated that by the time she reached Sarah's side, Sarah was already foaming at the mouth, a sign of the grave injuries she had sustained.
Tell the jury what you saw.
Sarah was on the floor, stabbed, foaming.
All right, now you say on the floor, do you mean the road or do you mean on the floor of the car?
No, she was on the road.
Okay. Where was
She was with Sarah the whole time.
Now you mentioned at this point Sarah's actually foaming at her mouth. Now you describe Sarah as one of the family, a close friend. I imagine you see something like that, it's going to affect you. Am I right?
Yes.
What do you do once you realize your close friend, part of your family, has been stabbed and is on the ground?
I approached Rachel again and told her that she has to, like, are you serious? You actually stabbed her? I approached her.
Now tell me this. As you're approaching Rachel, are you yelling?
Yes.
As you yell to Rachel, are you serious? You stabbed her.
Objection, counsel testifying and leaving.
Thank you. As you're approaching Rachel and you yell to her, are you serious? You stabbed her. Tell the jury Rachel Wade's reaction to that comment.
She said she didn't care. She started laughing and turned around and was walking off to Javier's house.
Janet immediately called Joshua Camacho and the police. Meanwhile, witnesses observed Rachel laughing as she threw the murder weapon over Javier's fence. Shortly afterward, Rachel was arrested. During the trial, Rachel's attorneys maintained a self-defense claim, attempting to persuade the jury by invoking Florida's Stand Your Ground law. Her attorney, Jackie Baird, argued that Rachel had been the victim of ongoing bullying by Sarah and her friends. He referenced incidents meant to illustrate Sarah's antagonistic behavior, including one at school where Sarah allegedly knocked Rachel's lunch tray out of her hands and another at a karaoke event where Sarah and her friends mocked Rachel by singing a song and laughing at her. Despite the defense's portrayal of Sarah Ludemann as a bully and an instigator, the jury found the evidence against Rachel compelling. The prosecution highlighted the severity of Rachel's actions, including her threats, the physical altercation, and the fatal stabbing, as well as the testimonies of multiple witnesses. On September 3, 2010, Rachel Wade was found guilty of second-degree murder. She was sentenced to 27 years in prison and is currently incarcerated at the Lowell Correctional Institution in Marion County, Florida.